well, when I was at the college, I was lucky enough to get a position as a volunteer for St John. So I did a lot of my practical skills through them. And I also did some stints through other organisations such as HEST and other first aid companies on the Gold Coast. Then when I was at uni, I went to QUT and we do 3 lots of 6-week blocks of prac. So my first I did in Metro South in Brisbane at Carina Station, which was quite a busy station. The second block I did out west at Mergen, which is about 3.5 hours northwest of Brisbane. And Mergen Station looks after an Indigenous community, Cherbourg, out there, which was a really interesting opportunity to work with some Indigenous folks out there. And then my third lot of prac I did at Beenleigh Station, which was another very busy station.
Yeah.
So I had a mix of metro and rural, and I would really recommend that. Actually, it opened up my eyes to the possibility of working rural when before I'd done that placement, I didn't really think it was even on my radar, but completely different experience, different skill sets. You got a lot more time with patients, a lot longer travel time, a lot less backup. So you sort of have to think on your feet a little bit more and, be a bit more resourceful than you do in the city.
Yeah.
So, it was definitely a valuable experience.
Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? And that's really good advice for students to learn from that. It's like, hey, if you have the opportunity to choose where you're going to do your placements throughout whether diploma or the bachelor, get a variety of different situations, as you said, rural, metro, to get a feel for it. Because you don't know you only know what you know, right? You don't know how something's going to be in the field and whether it's going to fit you until you actually give it a go. And placement's a great opportunity to suss that out.
Absolutely. There's advantages of being in the city. You've got a lot of resources, but also, a lot of the time, the hospital's 20 minutes away. So you've only got that travel time to talk to your patient and do vitals and get your paperwork at least partially done. And and if there's anything really interesting, everybody's all over it. And the critical care paramedics or the intensive care paramedics rock up and, then they get to do all the interesting stuff.
Right.
So whereas rural, where I did my rural placement, there was one critical care paramedic in the area, and if he wasn't on shift, there was no backup. So you might get another crew, in 40 minutes, depending how far they were away. So you really did have to think about it more. There were a lot fewer jobs during the day. So a better work-life balance in some respect and a lot of time to study. And then in the city stations, once you left the station in the morning, you'd be lucky to get back all day. So,
and kind of to bring it back to your situation right now, so you're 3 months into a 1-year trainee paramedic position, but I understand that there's possibility that you might have to transfer somewhere else in the country or in the state, right, within New South Wales.
Yeah.
And, those, it's not like you can pick and choose as well where you might necessarily be. You do have some choice, but can you explain through that? Because I think that's really helpful to know, the flexibility and the adaptability and varied opportunities there are.
Oh, definitely. For the graduate year, we were asked to put in our preferences for regions and, regions based on the local area health network sort of regions. I was really lucky because I put the Illawarra as my first preference and I got it. However, that's not necessary. They will take your preferences into consideration, but it depends on what they need operationally. So you do have a bit of a say, but then you can be offered anywhere in the state. And, if you turn it down, you more or less, as I understand it, almost go to the bottom of the list and, you'll say, okay, well, we offered you that, you weren't interested, we'll see what's left, once we've offered everybody else what they, what for them. So I think you do have to approach it with a flexible mind and be sort of willing to go anywhere. And, you know, it is an adventure. You don't know where you'll end up. If you really want a job, it's about the job. It's not about the place. So I think to do this, you really want to do the job, and everywhere will have its advantages and disadvantages. And, you know, if you're tied down with a family or mortgage or partner who can't move, it does make it more difficult. But I understand the service, it would take, you know, compassionate reasons into account.
Sure.
You know, you really have reasons where you need to be in a particular area, you can put your case forward. And, you know, it depends on the situation. They do, as I understand it, consider those things. But my advice would be, if you can be flexible, you've got a much better chance of getting a job and getting a job quicker.